Welcome to Conversations Here and Now. My name is Naresh. It's Wednesday, August the 20th. Premier Doug Ford is back in the news talking about his tunnels again. I thought that idea had gone away. He wasn't going to do it, but it looks like he's going to be doing it. A couple of weeks ago in a news conference, he said, if they can tunnel under the English Channel, if they can tunnel through the mountains and every other place, we sure the heck can tunnel along the 401. We'll do it safely and we'll do it properly. I've never heard a more asinine statement, right? And a lot of people now are upset by his plans to dig a 3-level, 20-meter wide, 55-kilometer tunnel under the Highway 401 that would stretch from Mississauga to the east of Scarborough. He's not giving up. He is not going to give up on this. In 2021, it seems that in 2021 they did some type of a feasibility study and figured, well, this wasn't going to work, and they shelved the whole thing. But this time it looks like he's definitely going to be doing it. So, what can be said about this? Other than that, it's a crazy idea. But again, I have visited this before, and I'm going to visit this again, okay? Because it's worth talking about. This idea, I mean, two biggest things with this idea are the amount of time that it's going to take to build this. We're looking at 50 to 75 years possibly to build this. Don't forget that, in 2011 in Toronto, they started the, above and below ground light rail along Eglinton Avenue. And 14 years later, it still isn't done. It's only a fraction of the length that this Highway 401 tunnel would be. And 14 years later, it's not done, and there's no sight of that Eglinton LRT being done anytime soon. So when you're building a Highway 401 tunnel that's going to run from Mississauga to the east of Scarborough, you're looking at 50 years, maybe 75. So who's going to be riding that thing? Doug Ford? I don't think so. Unless he's got some magical formula for living that long. Me? No, I don't have a magical formula for living that long. You? No. Even people who are born today, a baby born today would be 50 when this tunnel opens. Possibly, if it opens in 50 years. Right? So, so that's the timeline thing. Okay? The second thing is the cost of it. $150 to $100 billion, most likely more than $100 billion. I don't know if any construction projects that start on time, finish on time, start on the cost that is projected, and finish on the cost that is projected. Does not happen, will not happen. We all know that, 100%. Right? Nothing ever goes smoothly when you build these kind of projects. So, you're looking at 100 billion or more. Where's that money coming from? We're not talking about 100 million. We're talking 100 billion, yes, B-I-L-L-I-O-N with a B. Are we going to go in debt? Is the province of Ontario going to go in debt by that much? How much do you think the feds will kick in? Really? I don't think they're going to be kicking in like 20, 40, 50 billion. Not happening. So more likely than not, the money is going to come up from our own pockets, the taxpayers. Increase taxes, increase somewhere, somehow, or go in debt completely. This is madness. 100 billion. It'll never be paid off. It'll never be built, and it'll never be paid off. Let's look at some of the other things, why it's crazy. Engineering and construction challenges. Soil and ground conditions. The GTA has a mixed soil, clay, and water tables that make deep tunneling extremely complex. Utilities and infrastructure. Countless pipelines, sewers, hydrolines, and telecommunications cables run beneath the 401. Relocating or tunneling around them would be a massive logistical challenge. Existing structures, Bridges, interchanges, and subway lines, like Line 1 near Yorkdale, could be affected, requiring reinforcement or redesign. Number 2, traffic chaos during construction. Disruptions. Even if tunnels are built below massive surface, construction zones would be required for access, shafts, ventilation, and machinery. This would cause years of lane closures. Hey, are you people listening to this? Anybody in their right mind thinks, oh, this is a great idea, and you already drive on the 401, that drive would probably double in time because of the closures that you would have, right? Economic impact. The 401 moves hundreds of thousands of vehicles daily, including trucks carrying goods. Prolonged disruptions would cost billions in lost productivity and shipping delays. The traffic would just bog right down completely. You know how bad it is when they want to just fix potholes and they close one lane. Traffic gets backed up for miles. You can imagine this, right? Madness, right? Number 3, astronomical costs. And I already spoke about that. Billions in spending. A single kilometer of underground tunnel can cost 500 million. Let's make it even. A single kilometer of underground tunnel can cost 1 billion, depending on depth and soil conditions. So for one, as I already mentioned, this could cost literally 100 billion. It's massive. Maintenance. Tunnels require constant ventilation, lighting, drainage, and structural maintenance. Long-term costs would rival the construction price. Yeah, so once it's built, and even when it's being built, and once it's built, the maintenance of that thing would be massive. Like right now, when the 401 gets built, you know, you build an extra lane or something on a highway, what's the maintenance, right? Fill the potholes, if road breaks somewhere, fix it. Tunnels are completely different, right? So those are massive costs. Who's paying for those? That's right, all of us. Flooding and safety risks. Flooding. Toronto is prone to heavy rainfall and flash flooding. We've seen the flooding on Don Valley, right? Underground road tunnels could easily flood, endangering lives and causing closures. Water just goes right down into the tunnels, right? Accidents. Collisions happen every day on our highways. So accidents, fire, crashes, and breakdowns in tunnel are far more dangerous than an open highway due to limited escape routes and ventilation. So a massive, 4, 5, 10 car collision happens in there, things blow. I'm not understating it here. Something blows up inside a tunnel. That's a disaster. As I said before, engineering and construction challenges. So because the GTA has mixed soil, clay, and water tables, so it becomes not only complex to make that tunnel, but dangerous. That tunnel one day can collapse on the inside. So, there's some humorous points we can look at. Canadian weather needs tunnel. Snowplows would need scuba gear when the tunnel floods after the first summer thunderstorm. Oh yeah. Can you imagine being a car in there, stuck in there, and the damn thing is filling up? Because the drains are all blocked up. In the winter, black ice in an underground tube sounds like the world's longest skating rink. Disaster. Traffic jam underground. Imagine being stuck in the usual 401 gridlock, except now it's in a dimly lit tunnel where your GPS keeps saying lost connection, right? Imagine being sitting in there for an hour. Claustrophobia to the max, right? Again, construction time estimate forever. Toronto Eglinton Crosstown LRT was supposed to be finished ages ago. Now imagine that, 100 times bigger, right under the busiest highway in North America. As I said before, your grandkids might be the ones attending the ribbon cutting ceremony if it ever finishes. What happens if this thing gets started and the funding isn't there? Quarter of the way through or halfway through, then that eyesore is going to sit there. You just have to finish it then, right? You have no choice but to finish it. No matter what the cost then. Who's going to enjoy it? Again, who even knows that cars will be driving on the roadway 50, 60 years from now? Who knows what traffic will be like? Is it going to fix traffic right now? No. Instead, it's going to make traffic worse for the next 50 years until the time it gets built. Horrifically worse. Cost overruns, as I said before, Ontario taxpayers would be paying for this thing until the Leafs win the Stanley Cup. So basically, forever, right? Because once it's built, then it's the maintenance of it, right? So, as I said, this thing is a bad idea, and I thought it had been put to bed, and Ford was not going to revisit it. But it looks like he's got a super majority, and you know what? I'm not necessarily a Ford critic all the time. He's done some good stuff. He's fighting these tariffs with Trump and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying criticize. It's just this idea, the way I see it. Okay, this is a bad idea. Again, a feasibility study was done of some type. We don't know about it in 2021, and the whole idea was nixed, basically. So I think, as I've said before, this money, $100 billion, we can start. He's doing. What's the reason he's doing it? So to fix traffic. When? 60 years down the road? In what universe is that making sense? How is that making sense? Traffic needs to be fixed now, today, yesterday, not 60 years down the road when most of us will be in the grave, right? So, of course, we could always spend all that tunnel money on public transit, like every other right-thinking nation would do and has done. So think of all the really fantastic cities around the world: New York, London, Paris, Tokyo, Shanghai, Seoul, Hong Kong, Berlin, Madrid, all have fantastic public transit systems. Why is it that our governments cannot think? Go send your people to these cities and see how they're, it would be a lot less than $100 billion, a couple of airplane tickets. Send people to these cities and see how their transit systems are built and how they work. How about we try to model around that? Public transit. Public transit is the way to go. The more you build, I know he's building Highway 413, 413, or whatever he calls it. That's going to be built from the looks of it. But the more highways you build, the more you tell people to drive. You're not incentivizing anybody to take the transit. Right? People, there's the 407, and if he really wanted to help a little bit, he would make the 407 free. So more people could use that, at least, to, make traffic a little bit better on 401. But he's made portion of the 407 free, but he won't make all of the 407 free. Buy back from whatever company, his predecessor, Harris, that's it. So when Mike Harris sold it, buy it back and make it free for everybody. Right? You want to spend some money? That would make traffic a little bit easier. But public transit is the way to go, whether it's trains, more buses, subways. Yes, that's right. All three combined. All over GTA. Right? And to just think that one tunnel, 55 kilometers long, will solve all our problems. Yes. You're dreaming in Technicolor. This idea is not going to work. Put the money in better public transit. Send a couple of your staff, consultants, or whatever you have on staff to the cities that I've mentioned and see how their transit systems work around the world. And try to model ourselves along those lines. Yes, I agree. Our highways are packed to the gills. But this idea is not going to work. I've listed my reasons, and the biggest one being cost and time. Anybody who's watching this, unless you're just born, most likely will not be driving on this. If you're 30 years old today, 50 years later, 80, you're probably not going to be driving. So I think it's time to shelve this idea and put the money in a better way. And that's my take on it. Thank you very much for watching. And if you like what I said, please leave a comment. If you don't like what I said, please leave a comment. Please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications and share this with other people. Because I think a lot of people just don't know. They just don't know that he's going to do this. I think a lot of the public today just go on about their business and they have no idea, no clue what's going on in governments. People have to wake up. This is $100 billion. You know, so please let everybody know. If you agree with me that it is a terrible idea, then let everybody know. Thank you again. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications and share. Thank you very much.